Alright, welcome back to another Epic 7 hero review. Today we're going to talk about one of the assassins, Assassin Cidd. Definitely a very powerful hero right now, especially in RTA. As always, we'll go over his skills, builds, a PvP showcase, and then a summary. So let's get started with the skills. Alright, so Cidd got some buffs a few months back, so let's talk about his quote-unquote new kit. So his S1 is pretty basic, just a regular attack. At max Mola, it has a 50% chance to defense break, so not the most reliable, but defense break is a very powerful debuff. And also, the damage dealt increases proportional to his speed, and he's generally very fast. It doesn't have amazing scaling, but his S1 does hit pretty hard. His S2, not that important in my opinion, maybe in Guild Wars, but when someone dies, he gets a self-attack buff, and his combat readiness is bumped by 30%, which is a pretty significant CR bump. So he's almost like a ramp-up hero, where when you start killing people, he just starts getting more and more turns and killing them even more. But honestly, in terms of ML, S2's probably one of the least interesting ones out there. Now his S3 is what makes him special. Attacks the enemy with a powerful ground and pound. It silences them for one turn and decreases their combat readiness by 50%. It gives him increased evasion, which makes him kind of tanky. And it does damage proportional to both the caster and the enemy speed, so it does more damage against faster units. And it also removes 20 souls from the opponent. This is amazing against cleave teams, because cleave teams generally rely on souls. Now, if you're on like arena offense, regular arena offense, it's useless because defense never uses souls anyway. But in something like RTA or Guild Wars defense, if you put on your own defense team, it can neuter people attacking you. It also has a soul burn, and this move actually hits hard. If your Cidd is built well with the soul burn, it will easily hit for like 10 to 16k in one shot, something like a Basar or an Flidica. The one weakness to it is, though, that sometimes if people get lucky with their A-Lots, they'll have like 15,000 health A-Lots because all their speed gear rolled health mains. Or if they have immunity sets, immunity will block both the silence and the decreased combat readiness. So if you can't kill them against someone who has immunity, it will basically neuter half the things that this move does other than the soul removal. So against really tanky initiators, this move isn't that great. Coli has the same problem, but in general, worst case scenario, you might be able to one-shot them if they didn't have like all health main on their speed gear. So anyways, that's his skills. Let's go over his builds. Alright, so how do you build Assassin Cidd? There's really two ways, but really one way, because 90% of them will be the main way, and then like 10% of them used for Guild Wars defense will be slightly different. But the main way is the way I built him. You want him to be as fast as possible. Cidd is meant to be a counter initiator. That does not work if your Cidd is slower than common initiators like Basar, Flidica, Cerise. You better be faster than them, otherwise he ends up being worthless. So my speed is okay, it's a 280. Realistically nowadays with reforging, you want him more like 300, because 280 to 300 Cerises and Fliticas are not uncommon anymore. With that, you want as much crit chance, crit damage, and attack as possible, because like I said, if they happen to be on immunity, you really want to be able to one-shot them, and he does hit hard against fast heroes. Note that he's a 4-star and he has a crit chance self-imprint, so getting his crit rate to 100 is a little bit easier than other heroes. Ideally, if I could get to like 20 more speed, maybe like 25% more crit damage and 3k attack, this would be a pretty beastly Cidd. The other build is, some people build him kind of slower, like around like high 100s to like low 200 speeds, and they'll put them on like Violet's Talisman and make them like a damage dealing Cidd. I've seen that a few times in Guild Wars defense. They hit really really hard. But still, I'd say that's fairly uncommon and probably not viable in anything outside of Guild Wars. So really the main build is the fast damage build. Artifacts. Your main choices are RNL or Alexa's Basket. My Alexa's Basket is on my Arbiter right now. Alexa's Basket is very, very good on Cidd because if the greater attack procs, it's a very easy one-shot on any initiator, like a Basar or an Flidica or something. So you really want to use Alexa's Basket if you have it. RNL is a good substitute, but even more unreliable because mine's only plus 15. Even at plus 30, it's only 20%. But, you know, again, it gives you an extra turn. It's kind of like damage, but I think greater Alexa proc is a lot easier to get, and it does more damage than an extra turn from RNL. You can also use Violet's Talisman because Cidd has that self-evasion, so after 3 turns he'll have 80% evasion, but again, for the purposes of initiating, probably not that useful. You can also theoretically use Moonlight Dreamblade, but really, like, I would not recommend Knife because he's attacking first, so they're usually at max health. Really, you should use Alexa's Basket if you can. If you can't, use RNL. Now, with the build out of the way, let's move on to the PvP showcase. Alright, so Assassin Cidd in Arena, is he good? I mean, he's alright. He has a very niche role that he's very good at in general. You don't need him. But against teams like this, right? He has 3 Bruisers, FCC, Seaside Bologna, Arbiter Vildred, and then a random Basar in here. Now, if you use your own Basar to cleave or use Aux Lots or something, Aux Lots is only 4 speed faster than Basar. If that guy has even marginally better gear than you, you're probably effed because he's going to go first and screw you over. But something like Cidd has almost 20 more speed than Basar, so unless I'm really badly outgeared or get really badly speed RNG'd, it's a pretty safe way to guarantee the first turn. And let's find out here. Let's find out if the Basar would have gone before my Aux Lots if I didn't bring Cidd. So I do go first and look. If I didn't have Cidd, that Basar would have cut, or not even cut, just went before my Aux Lots. But now that I brought Cidd, it's not a problem. We're just going to go ahead and push this guy back. He resisted the silence, but it's okay. Now my Aux Lots is safe, and we can go ahead and cleave this out. So 1, Arbiter Vildred is dead. SSB counters here, no big deal. And then Judge Kisei can wrap this up. And we have Arbiter of our own for our backup cleave. Wham! So there we go, like that's a fight that I would have lost if it wasn't for the fact that Cidd is so fast. Let's find another team like that. Alright, let's try this guy. So this is actually kind of scary because they could be really fast because if that Vildred has a speed imprint, that's plus 14 speed. So just to be sure, because this team is actually pretty damn squishy, I'm going to bring my own speed imprint. So if I could ever find them, there we go. We'll bring Fire Shuri, and now my Cidd should be pretty comfortably faster than their Basar. We're about to find out. So there we go. Moment of truth.
Let's begin.
We are, barely. Look, this Basar is at 98%, but I did go first. So no problem. See you later, Basar. Gets pushed back and silenced. Now we push up Arbiter Vildred. And see you later, guys. They get wiped out. Their Arbiter will kill my Arbiter now, but that's okay. I'll come right back and kill him back again. Oh no! Alright. 2 can play that game. And there you go. As you can see, that's a match that I would have lost if I did not have Cidd there to counter-initiate on that Basar. That's why Cidd is really good on offense for enabling cleave teams against counter-speed teams, but in other, like against full bruiser comps, definitely don't use him. He doesn't really excel there. Let's move on to the summary. Alright, time for the summary. Assassin Cidd, is he good? Absolutely. But he's not a must-have for the vast majority of people. Especially newer players, they get very excited anytime they pull an ML. They want to find out if they're good and build them right away. If you're a new player, I suggest you focus on other core heroes first, because both Assassin Cidd and Assassin Coli, very similar, are very good at their niche, but it is a niche. So most cases, like if you're trying to tackle speed cleaves like I showed you before and you don't have something like this, all you have to do is dodge it, right? So anyways, let's go into summary. So arena offense, I'll give him an A. Now, you saw how I use him. He's very good at counter-initiating against people who try to guard a speed cleave or a bruiser team with a single fast character. Assassin Cidd is very good at slicing and dicing those kind of defenses apart. Arena defense, I'm going to give him an A as well. Now, the weird thing about Assassin Cidd is that he's not particularly good at defense, but what he does accomplish is anytime I put Cidd on my defense, and he's on my defense right now, you're going to notice that no cleave teams ever attack you, because everyone knows how fast Cidd is, and his soul removal is so annoying for cleave teams. I still get hit by bruiser teams, but that still means that anytime I put Cidd on my defense, I get hit, no joke, like 3 or 4 times less than I do when I take him out. So in terms of success rate, when people do hit me, bruiser teams have no problem dealing with Cidd. But just the fact that I never get attacked by cleave teams when I have him on defense means that he's amazing on defense, because I'd rather get hit 4 times less than have like a 10% higher win rate. Guild Wars offense, I'll give him like a B-. Not that useful. If you're really hitting a lot of people in Guild Wars that are using speed cleaves, again, you can use them the same way I used them on arena offense, but I will say that speed cleave defenses on Guild Wars defense is not that common. Typically it's some kind of bruiser defense, and if it is a speed cleave defense, you can just build a very tanky bruiser team and usually just whittle it apart, something like Crow, FCC, blah blah blah. So I don't think he's that strong in Guild Wars offense. Guild Wars defense, he's pretty scary. I would give him like a B+. Problem with him is you need a lot of gear. I have versed a lot of made Coli Cidd defenses where the Cidd is built more damage, kind of like I explained in the build section, more damage, slightly less speed, and they are shockingly scary. Like I've seen an Cidd hit my FCC for like 20k with attack buff. He hits shockingly hard with good gear. So, he's okay in Guild Wars defense. RTA, I'm going to give him an A+. The problem is he's a niche hero. Like, against cleave teams, he is an amazing counter pick, because anytime someone goes Flidica cleave on me, basically I pick Cidd and I can lock in whatever the 4 other heroes I want to use are, and they almost always ban the Cidd because they know the Cidd's going to outspeed that Flidica and screw up their whole strategy. If Flidica gets silenced and pushed back with an Flidica cleave, game over. So then I can stack my defense with other things, like, okay, they'll ban my Cidd, but it lets my Kayron, my Arbiter, my FCC, my Ruel, all those super dangerous threats to Flidica cleaves get through. So even when he doesn't actually make it to the match, he's really strong in RTA. Like, I'm almost tempted to give him an S for that reason alone, because so many people cleave. But the thing is, he's obviously not as common. Like, they have to be cleaving for him to be useful against bruiser teams. Honestly, pretty useless. So anyways, that's my review of Assassin Cidd. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. If you have him, congratulations. Again, if you're a new player, you might want to wait. But if you're an established player trying to get better in RTA, either him or Coli, definitely a solid addition to your kit. Anyways, thanks for watching. Let me know what heroes you guys want next. I did this one because someone requested it on my last video. I'm pretty responsive, so let me know what you want me to do next time. Thanks for watching. Peace out, guys.